I am genuinely
Finally! The confession we've all been waiting for!
dumbfounded. I don't know how to start this video. I don't really know what to do with this video. So I figure, why don't I just share the results with you and you can make up your own minds. We'll start with the first test I did of 4, which is up a 1.5 kilometre closed road climb at 3.4% average gradient, aiming for 350 watts. Now I wait patiently, annoyingly for several weeks, sometimes several months to get a low wind morning. I mean, I track this stuff week to week and even promote it on social media. And this particular morning is what bike testing dreams are made of. 0 kilometre winds at 0 kilometre gusts, as you can see here from all the wind app screenshots I take before each run. The first 3 runs I do are on the 2023 Disc Brake BMC, and as you can see, the times are consistently 3 minutes and 28 seconds. I've even linked to all the Strava segments here so you can go and investigate for yourself if you like. Now, before I share the 2013 rim brake results, I'd like to share a little weather story with you. You see, living near the beautiful Queensland Ocean, we tend to get wind consistently throughout the year. But this was a really unique week weather-wise. It was literally the calm before the storm. So 2 days before this day, on a Tuesday morning, I did the same test comparing the 2023 Disc Brake BMC, which I labelled the Superbike for that project, to a 2023 entry-level Disc Brake BMC. And as you can see, at 0 wind conditions as well, we have similar times, but 2 seconds faster on the Tuesday over this day, which was 2 days later, on a Thursday. So the question is why? Well, obviously they were different days, so atmospheric pressure could have been different, but I am fairly confident it has to do with the wheels. For the run on Tuesday, the Superbike versus the pimped up entry-level BMC, I was running the stock DT Swiss 50mm wheels with a DT Swiss 180 ceramic hub. On the Thursday, for the rim versus disc battle, I ran the Creative Classic 45mm wheels with their own ratchet non-ceramic hub, which in simple terms are wheels that are about 50% less in price than the DT Swiss wheels, plus 5mm less in the rim profile, which would probably be a disadvantage up that climb, which is only roughly a 3.5% gradient. So you might be asking now, why did I use different wheels on the different days? Well, on the Tuesday, the Superbike versus the pimped up entry-level BMC, I was constrained by budget because that was the nature of that project. But for this battle, the one behind me here, I wanted the exact same wheel. And quick shout out and many thanks to Michael from Creative Wheels, who has kindly lent me both of these wheels, the Creative Classics, which are exactly the same, except one is set up for rim brakes and the other disc. So we have the exact same wheels, tires and tubes on both bikes for this test, although there are some structural differences in the wheels just to accommodate the different braking surfaces. So now we have that out of the way. I changed the bikes over, as you can see here. I'm swapping the pedals using the same Asioma power source, which I calibrate each time, which you should, irrespective, but in this particular case, 170mm cranks versus 172.5mm cranks. And as you can see from the footage, I'm drinking from a water bottle in my car as the water bottle on the bike stays the same volume, which I only drank in the warm-up phases. The rim brake bike goes up the climb consistently at 3 minutes and 22 seconds. On average, 5 seconds faster than the Disc Brake BMC. Now, all I'm gonna say here is I have been doing these test runs for 4 years now, since December 2020, and those times that the rim brake bike did at 350 watts, yes, it's different days to the other bikes, but they are the fastest times up that climb I have ever seen. And all the bikes that I have tested over the past 4 years are disc brake bikes. Additionally, I would say 2 to 3 seconds up a 3.5 minute climb advantage is quite a considerable advantage. So 5 seconds, I'll let you decide. The second run is on a 1.6 kilometre descent where I pedal at 350 watts into a signpost and then I free pedal down a negative 5.4% gradient. Wind conditions once again 0, and as you can see here, we're basically the same. External to 2 runs, I'm removing due to car interference. The next test, I've now driven to the Criterium track. This crit track is just under 1 kilometre in length, and it's got a little descent and a little pinch with some flat either side. Being a bit later in the morning, the wind's picked up a touch, which we'll get to, and the aim here is to do 6 laps at 250 watts, constant pressure of course, holding the same line. I start with the rim brake bike, get to lap 5, and then this happens. First time ever in the history of testing, I have a complete flat tyre. So this is why I bring my pump just in case, so we can ensure the PSI is equal to all the wheels, which is 90 on the Vittoria Corsa Pro 26mm clincher tyres. 90 might seem a bit high to a lot of people out there, but I've been running 90 for the past 4 years, so I like to keep it consistent. Plus the track and the climb are pretty smooth surfaces. So, second time lucky with the 6 laps at 250 watts, and as you can see, the average time around the crit track is 1 minute and 38.5 seconds. Wind is now blowing at 3.7 kilometers per hour with 5.5 kilometer gusts. I then do the bike changeover and power meter swap, and I'm off on the disc brake bike again, which completes the 6 laps on average at 1 minute and 39.7 seconds. So 1.2 seconds slower than the rim brake bike, although to be fair, the wind had picked up a little bit for this particular run. It was now blowing 5.5 kilometer per hour winds with 7.4 kilometer gusts. So I decided to do the run again on the rim brake bike, and as I was swapping bikes over, I bumped into this bloke.
Where you going over there?
Hey, where'd you come from?
Don't you worry about that. They're on the old bloody flying saucers, are ya?
So the flying what?
The old ting ting ping ting ding 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 ding. The old bloody disc brake modern pieces of junk. See that beautiful bike over there?
Yeah, I can see it. I've actually got one.
It's a magnificent rim brake bike. Easy to work on, light as a fusser, everything you could want. Better than these modern pieces of junk. Don't let this fool you. False sense of security. In the 1990s, me and Cadell Evans, we were riding our rim brake bikes on the Great Ocean Road, and we were dropping people left, right and centre. It was Uzis going off, grenades. We were just dropping people. Today, when Cadell and I go ride the Great Ocean Road 2024, we're dropping people from the get-go because they're riding these ridiculously heavy pieces of junk. It's more than a cycling Uzi, it's a...
So once he buggered off, I completed 6 laps again on the rim brake bike at 250 watts, and instead of the times being similar, the rim brake bike just cements itself as the fastest by this time doing on average 1 minute and 37.8 seconds around the track. So basically 2 seconds faster. The fourth and final test is a spin down, where I roll down the descent on the crit track without a run up and without pedaling, and just see how far I can go as per this example, holding the same line. Now I didn't have my little helper to film where I landed for these particular test runs, so you're gonna have to trust me, but after completing 2 runs on each bike and using some litter I found to mark where I landed, this was the final outcome. Last spin down on the rim brake BMC. I'm about 2 bike lengths in front of the Up and Go, the last run, and about 3 bike lengths behind the best run on the disc brake BMC. Now I did put the litter in the bin after completion, of course, and the disc brake bike ended up rolling around 3 to 4 bike lengths further than the rim brake bike. This is over roughly 400 meters of rolling, and that is all the tests I completed. Now to alleviate possible scrutiny, well, I'm sure there's gonna be a fair bit, let me explain how the bikes are different. I tried to make everything as similar as possible or the same, but let me explain how they were different. First of all, one is 10 years older, one is modern, one is rim brake, one is disc brake, of course. We have an old school 11-speed Shimano Dura-Ace mechanical with cable showing versus Di2 Shimano Dura-Ace 12-speed with no cable showing. The weight of each bike is therefore different, and this is the one where I feel like it could be playing into the picture more than any of the others, and that is the geometry is slightly different. So a quick BMC history story time for you right now. BMC changed the Team Machine geometry in 2014. So this 2013 BMC Team Machine is a 50 centimeter versus the 2023 BMC, which is a 54 centimeter. However, it's not as big of a difference as you would think given the title. For example, the effective top tube is only 14 millimeters bigger over here where you would think it would be 40 given the 54 label versus the 50. The reach as well is only 8 millimeters difference. The only real big noteworthy difference is there's 20 millimeter less stack on the rim brake BMC. Now, Aaron, the pro mechanic, my pro mechanic who helped me put all this together, he left more chimney on the rim brake BMC to accommodate that shorter stack. And we put a 10 millimeter longer stem to accommodate the reach differences. Same bar width, of course, with the whole idea to put me in the same body position. But that's not to say Aaron didn't nail the measurements. Maybe I'm 2 or 3 millimeters out here and there, or maybe I'm just sitting on the old school BMC a lot differently. I don't know, that's for you to decide. So what I would like to do here, what I'd like to propose, I understand I'm one dude, this is one use case with one brand. We could potentially do this again with another brand. So we have 2 use cases of rim versus disc. And what I'm thinking is maybe we look at a brand like Specialized, where I compare a Specialized SL6 rim brake. Like this one I have spotted from Alchemy Cycle Trader, a specialist in second-hand bikes, versus a disc brake SL8. Same tyres, same tubes, same sequence of tests, same wheels, like exactly what I've done in this project, except it would be Specialized. Now, these projects are obviously a lot of time and energy, but in particular, I already had this bike. I don't have an SL8. Very costly to get your hands on an SL8. Yes, you can sell it and get your money back, but you're not going to get all of it back. The same applies for an SL6. And I don't have that kind of money lying around, to be honest with you. So if there's a sponsor out there that would be willing to get involved here, anybody, or it could be a neutral, tire sponsor or nutrition sponsor or something like that, please let me know so I could make this project happen. And if you're interested in it yourself, the way you could help with this is this video itself becomes an asset I can take to brands to potentially bring a sponsor on board by the amount of views, the amount of likes, the amount of comments, etc. So if you could, share the video or drop a comment, say, good on you, dickhead, keep it going, whatever you want to do, that would be greatly appreciated. So I hope you got value out of this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.